is spreading some of his ashes here today because that was one of his final requests. So Iona's going to take some down to the pond and try and not fall in. It's okay.
Please don't.
And I'm going to spread some too because I just like throwing stuff.
Including knives, stars, and anything that has a blade on it. The whole family, dude.
Wild cat.
I knew Keith for almost 30 years. And I have lots of memories with him. Most of which I probably shouldn't share. So I'll just go back to the very first one that I have, which actually took place right here and involved his dog, Chow Chow. I must have been 4, 5 years old, and it was the first time that Keith and I had a play date. And it was winter, I remember. And for whatever reason, I wasn't equipped for his plan for hanging out, which means I thought we were going to hang out inside and watch movies or play board games, whatever. But we wanted to go outside and play in the snow, in the yard, and yada yada. I didn't have a jacket, so Keith gave me this jacket to wear so we could go out and play in the front yard in the snow. And the entire time that we were out there, his little dog Chow Chow was chasing me around like a fox or something chasing its prey. and it's a big front yard, and it was a lot bigger when I was this tall. And that dog just ran me down over and over, tearing my ass up. And you know, I thought it was the worst. I hated it. I was really pissed at Keith. I thought, you know, I'm not hanging out with this kid anymore. Like, why am I in this jacket? And why is this dog chasing me? Why is he not helping me? He's just standing there laughing at me. So, you know, go inside, take the jacket off, hang out. My mom picks me up, go home. And 10 years later, you know, we were still friends, but it was 10 years later that he told me that was Chow Chow's jacket. Chow Chow slept on that jacket and did everything with that jacket. And he thought it would be funny to put his new friend in a jacket that Chow Chow was going to rip his ass apart in. And, you know, me and Keith should have never been friends after that, but we became very close friends and stayed very close friends for years and years, and brought so many other friends in. And that was just him, man. He just was always pranking, even when he was a little kid. And I miss the hell out of him, and I'm really happy to see everybody here. And that's my...
By himself, pretty much. Davis decided to stick his head out, got shot in the back of the head by Keith, and then Blake got shot in the throat. And yeah, Keith comes walking out of there with a huge smile, just like, I got everyone. And like everyone's like, I think we're done for the day. He's like, but that was just round one. Let's go back in. But we ended up all playing paintball and fell in love with that for a real long time. And yeah, God. I'm trying to think of other stuff, but yeah, lots of gaming, lots of fun times, lots of great times going into the woods and having epic stick battles over the backyard. Mr. Davis was more than once almost lost an eye. But yeah, best friend I ever had, like a brother, always.
Dog Keith the next time, he didn't forget what he was talking about with you. And so it was always a high level of interaction with him. And it was always so sincere, and I will always remember him fondly.
Very well said.
Keith was this neighborhood's Dennis the Menace. When I think of Keith, I'm reminded of my entire childhood. I grew up in this neighborhood, in this house, and he in mine. I can't recall a single memory when Keith wasn't somehow there. I remember.
We hear you.
Maybe that's Keith doing that.
Yeah, I think so.
Somebody is, and it's not far away.
There's the 21 shots lead.
There we go.
Was it 21? Somebody's
I remember recklessly racing our bikes down the hill next to Davis and Thompson's house. Our dogs, Maddie and Chow Chow, following close behind. I remember Keith saved me from getting bitten by a copperhead and then accidentally shooting me with a BB gun a week later. I remember birthday parties in the woods, soccer practices, and long days spent exploring. I remember rope swings by the river. I remember reenacting great historic battles, with Keith always leading the charge into combat. I remember out of all the heroes he could play, he always wanted to be the villain. I remember Keith busting into Nakara's room to terrorize her, only to instantly regret it when she would wrestle him to the ground, Keith shouting mercy. I remember Keith annoying my dad until my dad would literally throw him outside, just for him to come right back in through the dog door. I remember my parents loved Keith and made sure to keep the fridge stocked with macaroni and cheese and A1 sauce. I remember Keith was a tightrope walker, always dancing on a fine line of driving people to their wits' end and then reeling them back in with his charm. But most of all, I remember while Keith was the villain at play, he was the opposite in real life, always sticking up for those who were picked on. After all, in Keith's eyes, it needed to be a level playing field and everyone deserved their equal share of teasing. Keith was someone not of this world. He was uniquely authentic, and he demanded authenticity from those around him. Quick to call bullshit the second he saw it. I always appreciated that about him. I miss Keith, but I find solace in knowing that he is out there somewhere pestering the shit out of my dad and making my mom laugh.
And lighting the grass on fire.
And lighting the grass on fire.
Thanks very much for the other ones.
I'll just go.
Yeah, you're good. You're probably good.
Well, young ones in here. So,
That's how you
one of
like.
my friends was murdered violently in Colorado. And the description of the man who ran to LA and then, he ran to LA and he was an ex-Marine. And that's Sully's mother. Keith called me one day and said, "Hey, I just want to let you know, I stopped this guy at a bar and I checked his tattoos. And if he didn't have those wrist tattoos, I'd have taken him to a tree and strapped him up and put some honey on him and see you later." And I was like, "Really?" And he goes, I don't know Sully, but he was important to you, so he's important to me. He was willing to go that far to stop someone that hurt someone close to me. And the guy was caught 2 blocks down the road at a bar, down the road from Keith. But Keith, that's the kind of person Keith was. If someone was important to you, they were important to him. Important enough, he was willing to risk everything to see justice done. And I told that to Sully's mother, and Sully's mother in the murder trial is like, I wish he got a hold of him instead of the cops. And I go, so does he. And she goes, I hear he makes wine. And I go, absolutely. And she was like, that's great. I'd love to talk to him one day. And I was like, it'll happen. Don't worry. We had a lantern lighting, months later, we had a lantern lighting ceremony for Sully. And I'm walking with his mother, and Keith calls me. And I was like, Keith, I'm with Sully's mom. And he goes, give her the phone. I handed her the phone, and she and him chat. And then she's like, here, thank you so much. You weren't lying. He's one of a kind. And I was like, he's not one of a kind. He's one of, I guess, a big kind. You know, it's like a kind bar, not the Kit Kat. You know what I'm saying? And she was like, thank you. And I was like, absolutely. And I pick up the phone, and Keith goes, I'm going to make a bottle of wine for that woman, and I'm going to send it to you. And I said, yeah, say no more. And he was like, no, literally, I asked her what her favorite kinds of wine are, and I'm going to combine them. And he sure did. He made a custom bottle of wine and sent it to me, and I gave it to her. She is so thankful for that man, just for what he was willing to do for someone he's never met. That's the kind of person Keith was. And I'll never forget. Like, there's so many things I can never forget, but this story is so powerful that you can't put a price or even there's no words to describe. To the man who is there for all, always. This one's for you, brother.
When I heard that my uncle on the phone, like, oh my God, what happened? I was immediately rushed to my family for help. And I am so sorry for the people that he never got to say goodbye to. I'm very sorry for everyone here. But there is no person inside. It's only the soul. And I think that we all have a piece of his soul since he made such a loyalty and bond of friendship with everyone here.
That will never break.
Before we did that, I was told it was called Girl Scout juice, which means that only girls can handle fire like that.
Okay, well then obviously it should be called boys juice.
Right. So we got that. We were the ones with the torch. So I'm sorry. I'm sorry that happened. But Aona, your dad, was one of the realest, most passionate, remarkable men I have ever had the pleasure of getting to know. I did help to keep him sustained one summer on hot dogs. I've known Nakara since I was a really small child. Nakara, I say Nakara because I'm from New Jersey, but since I was young.
Everybody before always called me Nakara. It's okay.
Yeah.
We're from above the Mason-Dixon.
That's right. Them Yankees.
I rode horses with her when I was even younger than you, and I always looked up to her. I didn't even know she had a brother. I've been friends with all these dudes, and I'm hearing these stories about running through the woods, playing Indians, whatever. I wish I was there. I didn't get to meet Keith. I didn't get to meet Keith until high school when he did, I guess it was the senior year or the freshman year college summer. I'm not sure, when he lived at my house for about 4 months. And
He finally got his license.
I think his father might have come by my parents' house and said, I think that my son's living here. And it was true. I came home from the barn every day and he did this hot dog dance. Give me them hot dogs! And I made them for him. But Keith is real, and I miss him and will always miss him. And I think that the thing that I'm going to miss the most, but that I appreciate the most right now, is getting old with all of y'all. And he will be there with us, like you said, in spirit and in soul. He lives through you. And I'm so grateful to have met you now. And I'm grateful to be here. And I'm sorry we almost burned it down, but it was him, you know
Actually,
So you're here to Keith. I've already finished my hashoub, so I need another one.
High school, met him through Ryan and Jake and the gang, and some of these folks I'd known for longer, but really came to know Keith at those formative years, and you know, I think what really brought us together, and all of us together, is passion, and you know, having a active, inquisitive mind, and thinking, you know, outside of the box, and looking at life as a whole blank canvas. I mean, while other kids were going to the mall and the movies and on dates and doing whatever they were doing, we were like in the woods, getting wild, you know, and we'll leave it at that. And you know, there was a lot of adventures had there, and never to be forgotten. And Keith was always down for the journey, was always up for the conversation, always had a lot to say, and always inspired me to ask questions and to never kind of take things for granted. And it's amazing to see the community that he built and that we all now share. And you know, I've really never met Keith's family more than in passing, and so it's incredible to see that, and we're all family now, and I'm gonna miss my friend Keith, and he'll always be with us. So keep it going, all of us.
All right, I got one. I wasn't pregnant yet, so it was probably only like year 2 or something, and we were sleeping a lot of that time. I was like bombing home from Guilford where I was going to school, and I mean, even still I can remember my heart just pounding, and we would go, you know, just probably having sex everywhere in the house is fantastic. And we were living on a mattress on the bottom floor, and I got up to pee in the middle of the night and kind of rounded the corner to that bathroom, and this man had the absolute creativity and insanity to be able to hide in that closet, so that at 2:30 in the morning when I came back around the corner in the dark, and we're both like not wearing anything, he's like, woo! And like, holy sh! So that kind of illustrates the ingenuity, the brilliance.
You gotcha.
Oh my God, the terror,
Trickster.
the constant terror, just absolute mastery all the time. Oh yeah, like I just was thinking as we were standing, things have been popping up this trip that haven't popped up, like the time in Bodo's when we were dating, and just like very casually having a conversation together, looking around and seeing people's different body weights and like muscle, you know, and just going, oh, they'd be good to eat. Yeah, like that. That's it. See that's some tone, but like it's not too much. That's perfect. Mwah. So like that's the kind of shit. Like, yeah, my God, how the hell am I gonna ever know anybody again that like just be a maniac with, huh?
We'll eat squirrel.
Dude,
Do you remember walking up to Jake's house and the squirrel fried on the power line fell right next to him? He didn't even look at it and goes, dinner.
Totally. So no, I think what I'm probably never gonna find again is just somebody to laugh our asses off about how stupid people are and how weird shit is, and just like, and my God, just the way that we played our whole relationship, and the way that I mean, we went through so much together, and you know, the thing about Keith is that he was always incrementally getting better, and he was somebody that he always said, I'm a bad guy, I don't know why you're with me, and I'd be like, no, you got your love at your core, and he's like, that's bullshit. But as the years went on, he was like, you know, you're right. He was all love, and you know, it was covered up with a lot of self-doubt and a lot of like not knowing how to accept support. And so, I mean, the word that has resonated throughout this whole experience for me is just, he was a man that got a lot of support and needed to inherently feel it as strong as it was coming at him, and he gave as much as he got constantly. And somebody said this at a meditation I was at in California probably about a month ago, just how they were supporting their person, the energy of the person that has now, you know, passed into everything, just continue supporting him, you know, wherever his soul path is taking him next, because he's got so much more work to do, you know. And we did beautiful work together, and I don't regret a single minute. It was hard work, but we were fucking happy, and I just I'm so excited to see whatever incarnation he goes into next, and I hope that includes me. And yeah, just keep supporting him, and my God, support yourselves, like, and ask for what you need from yourself, from each other, and, you know, connect, and remember that you are inherently here to love yourself and to love each other. And don't forget, don't get lost. Stay awake.
And stay here for each other.
Absolutely, yeah, stay here. We're here to do this work on this planet. And so stay here, stay awake, stay intentional, stay loving, and don't fucking stop laughing. I love you, my best friend.
If there is a higher
God bless
power,
you.
You just gained one of the best demon slayers there is.
Yep.
Because when you say he's on to bigger and better things, he's probably already killed Diablo and worked on it.
About eating people. So Erin's my stepsister, and we met when you were dating. Were you dating Keith?
Yeah.
When I met you?
No,
Okay.
They started dating 4 months before we did.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I have a 25-year-old son, and so they could all relate, I guess, better. But one thing I was introduced to was the concept of, there will be a zombie apocalypse. And this is what you have to do to get ready. And Keith told me every single thing. I went out and got the book.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, and one of the things that I thought probably, 4 days after Keith's passing was, God damn it, this is the one person who I want, that first person who I want on my pick for my team when the zombie apocalypse comes.
All right, and I don't know if I'm gonna hold it together, so bear with me. I know all of you, every single one of you, whether we've run across each other once or twice or drunk or otherwise impaired. And you're my family too. I was here to watch you grow up, and I was here to protect you guys. Mom knows how many times I've cleaned up. I lost count. The fire extinguisher is yet another example. I'm ready. The words that I have been told over and over again about my brother are devoted, loyal, kind, asshole, mischievous, devilish, compassionate. Yeah, I've heard that one too. And what it really shows me what an amazing man he was is the fact that all of you came together today. Came from all over the country and are here because we loved one person and we love each other. Just because he's not here now, he's still living in all of us. The video, but I was reading in a poem book the other day, and I came across this one, and I thought it was fitting for today. It's called His Journey's Just Begun, and it's by Ellen Brenneman. Don't think of him as gone. His journey's just begun. Life holds so many facets. This earth is only one. Just think of him as resting from sorrow and tears in a place of warmth and comfort where there are no days and years. Think of him. Think how he must be wishing that we would know today how nothing but our sadness can really pass away. Think of him as living in the hearts of those that touched, for nothing loved is ever lost, and he was loved so much. To my brother, cheers, cheers.
Cheers.
Probably not. Over the last I can't do this.
You got this.
You got this.
Come back. Yeah, we'll come back.
You held me up one time, come on.
Come on,
Over the last month or so, I have come to realize that all of my good stories involve Keith.
Yep.
Like, every single one, I tell my girlfriend, like, so we were up to no good, and it was me and Keith and so on. Or it'd be like, so this one time I was doing this and Keith was with me. And it always meant it was gonna be interesting. Sometimes bad, sometimes good. Like, I lost track of how many times we got to talk to the police together.
True story.
We always got away. They never caught us, but it was close. It was real fucking close. But he was my best friend. I just miss him so much. I miss you, dude.
Talk to them about finding the stuff in the barn across the road.
No.
That's not going on video.
Watching a police cruiser come up my driveway because of Keith's discovery was the scariest moment of my life.
To Keith.
Keith.
To Keith.
I've known Keith since I was very little. Zona was basically a second mom along with Bobby. You know, I grew up in these woods. I can still remember the first time that I met Keith. Zona sent Keith over to our house to say, there's new kids in there, go make friends. And my brother and I were out there playing in the woods, Vietnam. And Keith comes up and he's like, hey, I'm the neighbor, my mom sent me over here, what are you guys doing? And we said, oh, we're playing Vietnam. And it was like, oh my God. And we instantly became friends. Like, you guys like to play Vietnam too? Let me join in. I'll go be the VC. I'll go hide out in the woods. And I just remember growing up in these woods. I mean, seeing these woods here, I haven't been here for years, but I can still remember all the trails that we carved out in these woods and all the times that we spent hiking in there. And you know, I grew up with Keith. Like, he was another brother to me. And I'm gonna miss you.
Beautifully spoken.
Still do. 31. Look like I'm 18. About 13 years old. I was kind of running around. Didn't really know what path I was on. My father had kind of been out of the picture since I was 5 years old. I didn't have any big brothers, so my sister started dating a guy that she's no longer with, but it was AJ's best friend, Mike Albro. And
he would be here, but it's his birthday. And
it's his birthday today, yeah. And Mike and I, you know, we didn't hit it off immediately, but I really started to kind of intertwine myself because I didn't have any guidance. I didn't have any big brothers. I didn't have a dad to kind of like guide me what to do, what not to do. Some things that we did together weren't what I should have done, but at the time it was a learning experience. And
never do what you should do.
Exactly. So I ended up spending a couple years trying to find who I was, you know, still trying to figure that out today. I met Keith at AJ's house in College Park, and it was a debate. Pretty much we were playing ping pong, we went into a debate, we were arguing back and forth, and he was like, I don't think I like you that much. I was like, all right, well, you know, whatever. John can be a little cocky. All right, well, I took it with a grain of salt, and I was like, you know what? He's probably right. I should probably tone it down a little bit. You know, I'm looking at others for guidance, and here's this guy who's telling me, you know, he's well-spoken. He's, you know, he's able to tell me things that I didn't already know. You know, I was kind of clueless. And we spent summers together working on AJ's family's farm, fencing, throwing out grass seed, laying down hay. I mean, you name it. Going up in the tractor, being lifted up in the air, yelling at AJ to drop us down to the ground so we didn't die. And you know, my health kind of took a decline over the last 10 years, and I will say that the one person to check in on me, other than, you know, some of my close friends, was Keith. And he was always like, John, you're a bright light. You got to keep it that way. You know, don't let your flames smother out because, like, you know, everything will be askew without you here. And I guess I never really found substance in community. I kind of hid in a little hole whenever things went awry. You know, I couldn't kind of keep my head up. And I'm struggling to this day, you know, with a lot of things that, you know, I think everybody struggles with. But it was the phone calls from Keith over the last year, you know, it just random out of the blue, like, Jeezy, you know, you can't do this to yourself. You gotta, like, keep moving. You gotta lift your head up. You gotta keep fighting. You gotta, I know you're in the hospital every other day, but, you know, that's not where you're gonna be for the rest of your life. You know, you just gotta keep moving. And he always told me, he said, you know, like, there'll be times where things get dark and you can't really see for yourself, but always know that I'm here holding a flashlight. I'm holding a light. I'll illuminate a path through the darkness, and I'll help you get to the point that you need to get to. And, you know, when that call came in September, I was just shocked because, you know, I had this bright light kind of just beaming down on me, showing me that I shouldn't be doing what I'm doing. And, you know, I kind of take it as a reminder today that, I still need to shape up, you know, 31 years old. There's always time for correction, but Keith was one person when I really didn't have any guidance growing up other than AJ and Albro to kind of keep me Little John, Jeezy, and I just kept moving forward, and here I am today. And I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for them.
What's up, brother?
I was gonna say, John, coming off your
Provided.
And everybody here would attest, they don't want to mess with me.
Yeah.
You got somebody now.
You hear that?
Yeah.
I was gonna speak on that.
And
I'm the
coming
reason
from a
he
guy.
knows how to fight.
She can shoot.
That is true.
She has more guns than you.
Yeah.
The only person that had more guns than you was Keith.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
here
I
we
was, just
go.
gonna, I was just gonna say, coming off that note, you know, I met Keith when I was really young, and you know, I was still in it was 9th grade in high school, and I was, you know, going to a party over at my friend's house, or with my cousin over there, and so, you know, first person I noticed there is Keith, you know, and he's just a character. He's putting on this, you know, this show while he's playing beer pong. He's sinking shots, talking the best trash I've ever heard. And so basically, my goal that night
No,
was
you haven't met this. I'm just kidding.
basically my goal that night was to get onto the table with him so that, you know, him and I can have this battle. And sure enough, when it comes down to it, we're just putting on this great show. We're talking this right amount of trash to each other, and, you know, basically we're arguing with each other, but at the same time we're putting on, you know, a show, and everybody's just loving it, laughing. And, you know, I still, you know, here with his daughter, and, you know, everybody here, I just, you know, I see that bit of Keith still here, and, you know, thank God, you know, this one's a character of herself, and it's just, you know.
Bit of Keith, she has 5 kills over, I have 1. Feasey would be more than proud.
Oh,
He'd be
good.
scared. He would be scared. He would be scared. Like, you are a spitting image of your father.
Yes.
If he looked like a pretty little girl.
That's right.
There were days
With
when
her,
we
we
did.
were right.
There were moments.
Okay, wait. So the topic of Aona. The topic of Aona. So Keith and I had an agreement, and this was the minute. No, I am enlisting all of them. You're in trouble. Keith and I had an agreement. We drew up a contract, and this is a dating my daughter contract. So all through the United States,
loaded.
all of you
Guns
will
loaded.
get this contract.
Shovel's
I want
already in the car.
I want you to pay particular attention to what bone have you not broken, and then see number 10. That's all I'm gonna say.
Are you kidding me? What?
Yes.
Say that.
So this has been printed up and signed by my brother. I have a copy of it in my safe. So when I enlist any of you to help me in recon, I am anticipating an immediate response, and it's now on video.
Personal by the spy.
We will drop what we're doing and leave then.
God help the boy.
But he's one of my earliest memories of having a friend, and through Cub Scouts and various Little League teams, you know, it seemed like for the first bunch of years of my life, we were always connected somehow. and you know, life brings you apart and you go off on your own little adventures. But every time I ran into him, it didn't matter how long it was, it didn't matter, you know, under what circumstances. If you were a friend of his, he was always happy to see you, you know, with the right amount of ribbing mixed in with it. He was just one of the most unique individuals I ever met, and I wish I could have kept in better contact over the years, but you know, memories are there forever, and miss him greatly.
You're here to that.
Everybody together, and I remember a couple of years ago, Forrest's family used to always have the Christmas Eve party for years and years, and after we had all gone off, that was like the one time of the year where we would all get together. And a couple of years ago, like maybe 3 or 4, like everybody was so spread out at that point, and Keith had called all of us and had told everybody to come to this party and that he was coming, and that was the only time any of us were going to get to see him at all that year, so everybody had to go to the party. So we all show up to your party, and everybody's waiting and talking and, like, you know, catching up with each other, and Keith never shows up to the party. And so we call him, and he's like on a plane back to California and had never even, you know, been intending to go to the party, but had just gotten us all together and like laughed at us for, you know, believing that he was going to be there. But he always brought everybody together, and I'm really happy to see everybody, and I hope we can all stay connected.
Yeah. Here. Cheers. There's one thing. Where's Aaron? I guess if there's one thing that I would say is just to echo what Molly just said about the way that Keith brought everyone together and the way that he's brought us all together today. I remember last Christmas he came to my job and he was staying at my house. And I was excited because I was going to see Keith, but I was also excited because I knew I was going to see a bunch of other people because of Keith. because people don't like me as much as they like Keith. No. Look, listen. I don't like me as much as I like Keith. And I remember when I talked to Aaron on the phone recently, and we were crying a little bit, but we were also just talking, and you know, she told me he's not gone, he's everywhere. And I thought about that for like 3 days straight, and you know, I feel it. I see the kid all the time, and I don't think he's gone at all. One of the most sincere compliments that I ever received from a friend, a guy who I worked with, he told me he was really struggling in a relationship that he was in, and he told me that he stood up for himself, and he told me that it was because I had had an influence on him, that he thought about what would Forrest do in this situation, and he stood up for himself and he made a change. And I thought about that, and I realized I wasn't anywhere near him. You know, we weren't even in the same city anymore, but he told me that I had affected him that way, and that's Keith. And I feel like I'm for the rest of my life, Keith, your son has made me a stronger person. He's made me a better person, and I know that if I pick on one of my friends a little bit just to get him going, that's Keith. And you know, if you decide to go for a whole afternoon in the woods just because you want to, that's Keith. And if somebody picks on one of your friends and you stand up for them hard, that's Keith.
Or you run at them with a fork because they look like they taste good.
Yeah. And if you love the hell out of your friends, and you tell them that they look delicious.
If you love the hell out of your friends.
And the guy's not gone. You know, he's there with all of us, and he's everywhere. And I miss him like hell. It's crazy that I'm never gonna see him again. But I'm really feeling him right now, and I'm really glad that I'm here with all of you guys. It means a whole lot. And I think in a lot of ways that he's going to be with all of us forever. And that's it.
Cheers,
Respect.
Good job.
Known Keith longer than I have. He introduced me to all of you all. And those friendships, those memories are always gonna stick with me. And I'll always remember Keith, like, you know, bringing me around better people. He always wanted to bring the best out of everybody, even if he had to get in your side about it, you know what I mean?
Literally.
Yeah, yeah. He just wanted everybody to be together, be better, you know, and I'll always remember from him, and I don't have funny stories like all you got, but.
Yes, you do.
Well, I got some, but.
Your daughter's not.
But I'm gonna, yeah, my daughter's here, so I'm gonna keep it simple. But, yeah, so I'm gonna make it short and sweet, and, yeah, so we're all here, and that's because of Keith. He brought us all together, and yeah, I'm not gonna, you know, yeah, right? You gotta end it right there.
Yeah.
Cheers. Cheers. That's how you end it.
The first time I saw it, there was a swimming pool that was not really used for swimming. And I walk around the corner and I hear, wait. And I was like, what? And then ping. And Jake and Keith are shooting guns.
And people in general is that he kept the inner child alive.
Yes.
And that is the source, you know, that is a source of vitality and of energy and of everything. And, you know, a lot of you knew Keith from a child. I knew some of you as a child and met Keith, you know, later in life in high school. But it was like we were timeless. We were all timeless. It was a timeless time, and he kind of gave us all permission to be children, like in the most sacred and beautiful way, to like access that
absolutely
that point, you know, that made it able to talk
in the moment.
In the moment presence, you know, like when you were with Keith, you were in the fucking moment. There wasn't any like past or
potential.
Infinite.
But going back to your point about beer pong, AJ.
Let's talk about beer pong.
If we can talk about, well, his competitive spirit. If you were lucky enough to be his teammate, then you were in for a pretty good night.
Oh.
And
coveted beer pong.
Yes, it was a very coveted position to be his teammate.
Yeah, Thompson was the only one who got to be his
partner for
So, so there was one night, my brother Blake had an apartment on the corner on Ellerwood Avenue, and we would do all kinds of crazy, stupid stuff in there, jumping off roofs and whatever. But we would always play beer pong. And one particular night, I was lucky enough to be Keith's partner, and we basically ran everyone into the ground in the sense that they were done. They were defeated and they were asleep. And Keith and I were the last two standing. And it's either we can play each other or we can go get some food. But wait, we don't have any money. So let's go down to the corner and see what we can do about this situation. So, you know, Keith didn't have any shoes on for some reason at this party. He had no shoes, some shorts with holes and shit all over him. You know, the classic image of Keith. So we leave the apartment and we go downstairs and we were like, all right, we got to make up a story. You've been homeless for 3 weeks and I just got kicked out of my house. And that's our story. So we went down to the corner and started talking to all the UVA people. And we were out there all night, probably 4 or 5 in the morning, just wandering around. But during that time, we got food. We made $40, and we did something else out of a beer can, and we were offered jobs. We got offered jobs at a radio station that were actually pretty good jobs by these really nice UVA, you know, people that worked at the radio 91.9.
Come an intern.
Yeah, come work for us. You guys are cool. Like, you can work for us. Like, I know you're homeless, but whatever.
But you're cool.
So, you know, at the end of the night, we had full bellies. We split the $40. Each got a 20. We had job offers, and we woke up the next day and we're like, man, that would be great to have that job. But shit, like, we can't.
like we're not actually homeless. So I guess that's a missed opportunity right there. But I think that speaks to Keith's potential, and I just am so proud of where he was and what he become as a master, pretty much a master viticulturist and a winemaker.
Yeah.
And moving out to Santa Barbara and almost having to start over and ascend to where he did. My God, I mean, I'm looking at all of us around here, and he was top game out of all of us. And he did it fast, and he did it hard, and he did it right. And that dude, man, I can only imagine what the next 35, 40 years of his life would have been like. And I get so much, pause, and it makes me happy to think what could have been. And it makes me sad that he won't be able to get there. But man, he was loaded with potential and character. And it radiated to everybody that he came into contact with, including those guys that, saw something in him that night. And yeah.
The best thing we can all do is stick together.
Yes.
Up to California, and I hadn't been out there yet. And I got this phone call, like about 8 o'clock later than that, 10 o'clock at night. It's Keith whispering. And I'm going, Keith? What? He says, Mom, you wouldn't believe it. These people have paid $80 a person to listen to me talk. I'm going, you've got to be joking. And I don't know, somewhere he says, Mom, I'm a rock star winemaker. And I'm going, really? I know how him and Thompson tried to make brews. And then I went out there, and I don't know whether any of you ever went out to Keith's production places. Did any of you? No.
I saw
at Whitehall.
Whitehall. No, I'm talking Santa Barbara, big league.
Don't spill it. And it was like if there was a case of wine, this was like 600 cases of wine.
Oh.
And he watched this guy come lowered it just enough. It went up the little curb and graced the thing. And Keith goes, ho, 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 ho. And then it tilts and he goes, oh.
So
And then they ride in.
I worked with him at Keswick when we were both like 22.
Right.
And then it was time for somebody to grow up and become a winemaker, and it's time for somebody to go do something else.
Okay.
So Forrest went and did something else.
I went out to Santa Barbara, okay, and I remember, first of all, walking into Santa Barbara Winery, and I went, oh. Compared to the local wineries here, it was on steroids, okay? And then we went, there was a prime rib dinner being held in by the way, this is next door to Montecito, which is where Ellen DeGeneres and Oprah and all these places live. I mean, Keith lived right on the border there. And then people were coming up to me, draping in diamonds, and I used to live out in Pacific Palisades, so I knew what diamonds were, okay? And they were saying how wonderful Keith was and all these kinds of things. I'm going, this is a big production. And then he took me up to La Fond Label and their wineries, which was hundreds of acres. We're not talking 20-acre plots. And I'm still somewhat taken back, and then finally he says to me, come on, Mom, I'm a rock star winemaker. And it was hard for me to make, as his mother, to make that transition from this kid that you all are talking about to where he was at.
Yeah.
Okay? It was incredible. He really was a rock star winemaker.
He was killing it.
Killing
Yeah.
it is what he'd say.
Yeah, he was killing it.
And he learned that trade from the ground up.
That's
by
right.
himself, by his own hands.
Yes.
Yeah.
He did.
It was funny because I went around to all the wineries that he's ever worked at here in Virginia, and I had the pleasure of going over to the Santa Barbara winery too. And every single one of them, it had literally been a decade, and every single winery remembered Keith. And from his first winery at Keswick, we went there and I picked up a bottle from the winemaker who broke down and cried when he found out that Keith had passed away. Stephen cried on the phone with me.
Personal collection.
And he pulled from his personal collection so that I could get a bottle of wine that Keith had produced from that.
In 09 or 10?
In 10. And
You still
then
have it? I'm sorry to keep interrupting.
oh no, you're there. You were there. And then the owner of the vineyard sent me pictures and took the time to go through her personal files. And every single one of them, Keith was standing there like this. Various things in his hands. But, you know, like my mom said, he went from the ground up. And every single person, just like the ones that weren't here today, in his industry, remembered what he did. And he was really, really spectacular at it. So not only was he incredibly impressionable in his personal life and made an impact on all of us, he also did the same thing with his work. And it just showed you what a passion he had for everything that he put his time and effort into. And I want that to be the memory. I want you guys to remember that. And when you're tired and when you're not getting anywhere, that you remember that that passion is in you because Keith gave it to you and you damn well use it. And you're gonna fail and you're gonna fall down and you're gonna cut your finger and you're gonna call your big sister because you're bleeding all over the damn place because you weren't paying attention. But at the same time, you're still gonna freaking survive and move on and become as competent and successful as he was. Because I see him in all of you, every single one of you I see him in. And I remember a story with every single one of you. And so you have that fire in you. And if you can take anything away from tonight is don't waste it. Enjoy every single minute. And live and love and laugh. Sean, your turn.
Yeah, I feel like coming after that story, I didn't know in high school or something like that, Thompson's.
Well, you probably met in middle school because of it.
Probably middle school, but it took me a long time to earn his trust, which is and that was all. I didn't know. I didn't have very much confidence in myself back then, and so earning Keith's trust was like Everest. I mean, it was like he was like doubting me and testing me in every way, and it culminated in him at Thompson's asking me to let him hit me in the face and go back and forth. And that was a serious. I don't think I've ever let anybody hit me in the face. I'd not been punched in second grade, and it was a lot to take in. But after that point, I feel like he really did trust me, which it felt like I earned a lot at that point. And it not only felt like it, I mean, he reciprocated and got me a job at Keswick through knowing nothing. And so Keith got me a job. I didn't know anything about wine, and he stuck his neck out, got me an interview. And so Keith ultimately got me a job that I stayed in the wine industry for 7 years as a thing that I really enjoyed.
So you
wasn't a
passed
career.
the
Really, and then
I
right.
had to get dogged in the face for it.
He passed the gauntlet.
And that's after beating me in beer pong, many number of times. So he was really somebody it took a lot of effort to be a friend with, but it was worth every single second with him. And going out to Santa Barbara was a lot too. I mean, he took care of me. He put me up. I stayed in the living room. He showed me everything. So it's just hard to say much more about that guy.
Keith as well as you guys because y'all grew up with him, but AJ is one of my best friends, and I heard so many tales and stories about many of the people that I've met here today, and especially Keith. And everybody knows that Keith was famous for his game where he would...
Yes!
So I had
With the bayonet.
the thought that I was like, if I can pull this off, I'm gonna be a legend in this guy's eyes. So we came up here for AJ's sister's wedding a few years ago, and you know, I was elated to meet Keith, just to meet him, but to have the opportunity to take him down myself. And it just so happens that I distracted him. He looked down, and then wow! And I got him. The look that he gave me was one with surprise and respect. And beyond that point, we both considered each other legends to each other and had a mutual respect. After that, we then went on a 14-round rock, paper, scissors kick. And he beat me at the end, but the gift that I gave him was a $2 bill from strip club. And I appreciate all y'all sharing it, all of your stories and tales, because I feel like I got to know him a little bit better, and I'm just really grateful that I did get to meet him a couple times.
Here, here.
Well, you know each we all know that.
We've all been prey to the rock.
Yeah, we all know that game.
He never beat me. Not once.
Probably why
Yeah.
he was so good. All right,